Well, hi everybody, and here we are yet again. Everything's good, all's good in the pond. We're still managing to hold on to 13 degrees. It's 13 outside, so I thought I'd whip the tops up and give them a bit of fresh air today. So all's good there. I'm not quite sure what you'll see in there. I've only got the two covers up this morning, but they're all in there. A little bit slow. They're still feeding quite well. They're getting a little bit of, only a tiny bit of normal food, and then the rest's wheat German garlic. They're all in there, having a good old swim around. A bit windy here today. I'm just finishing off the cover for the sieve filter and the pipe work. I've just built a new box for the pipe work, and I've insulated it all with that, with this polystyrene I've got here. I've insulated it all inside the box. I've just got the lid to go on it now. There's a lid going on top of that. It's just drying, the paint's still wet, but that's got all that done. I've also got the lid on the sieve filter, so that's all done and covered up. A little bit of insulation to go in there. I shall insulate under there, under the top, but that's all that covered in now. That's made that quite nice. The cat enjoys walking over it. But I'm just waiting for the lid to dry now. It's in the shed, and when that's dry, that's all the outside pipe work covered. That should do it a treat, that. Just keep the cold out of there nicely. All's good in the filter house at the moment. Nothing's working hard. It's all just ticking away. I have shut the protein skimmer down. I've shut it down for now. It's not really taking any dirt out. As you can see, there's not a lot of dirt in there. It's covered, but it's not, there's no dirt among it really, so I've shut that down for now. Now what I have just had delivered is this here, and it's one of them cloverleaf pond heaters. I'm going to give one of them a whirl this year, see how we go with it. As most of you will probably know, I've got a 3 kilowatt pond heater. I'm going to give the 2 kilowatt a go. So this has just come. We've got hose tails. We've got the 2-inch fixing demountable couplings, and we've got the heater itself. Just take it out so you can see it. This is it. Doesn't look much to what my 3 kilowatt one does. So I'm going to drop that in. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to put it on the 40mm pipe. I've only had my 3 kilowatt one running on one of these 40mm 1.5-inch pipes. As you know, there's two, one there and one there. I shall eventually take this out. I want to get rid of that now. So there'll just be the 2 pipes running around to the RDF. I don't know whether to drop it in there or try to get down the back and drop it in there. It's going to be a bit awkward, but I think I should be able to do it. That's a 2-inch inlet where it comes in, up, and then splits into 2 40mm and goes round to the RDF. I might have a go at getting it in the bottom there, so it's on the 2-inch pipe. It'll get a better flow. It's only going to get half the flow rate if I go into one of them, so I think that's what I shall try to do, is get it in that bottom line. But I've got to shut the pond down obviously to do that, but I'm not going to get that done today. But it's all there ready to go in, so we're going to give it a whirl, see how one of them gets on. I'm not going to heat it up, I just don't want it dropping below 8 degrees. That's the thing. If I can keep the pond above 8 degrees, I should be quite happy. As you know, when I did the video on the pond heater, the 3 kilowatt one, it cost me an arm and a leg, and that was holding it at 12 degrees. But if I can stop it getting really bad and dropping below 8, I should be quite happy with that. Between 12 and 10 they start to lose a bit of immunity. I run a tiny bit of salt in the pond, but I'm going to double that up just to see if I can improve their slime coat ready for the winter. It'll just help them a little bit. So I shall chuck another 8 to 10 handfuls in the pond and just raise the salt level slightly. The amount of salt I run in the pond is negligible. The fish won't even know it's in there. I think I've only got about half a dozen, probably 8 handfuls of salt in there. So I shall probably double that up, see if we can get a bit better slime coat on them for the winter. There we are, it's the 2 kilowatt cloverleaf pond heater. So I'm just going to see how that goes actually, just see how it performs really. And like I say, I'm not going to heat the pond up with it, I'm just going to stop the pond, or try to stop the pond dropping below 8 degrees. But it should be okay now. I've got the covers on and I've got my pipe work lagged, so it shouldn't be too bad. I've got the filter house, that's all insulated, so that should hold me in good stead, I think. I have actually turned my pond pump down. It was running at about 93% and I've turned it down to just over 80, so I'm running at 152 watt now. So I've slowed that down a little bit, and the pond temp, as you can see, yeah, it's between 12.9 and 13, and we're holding around the 13 degrees mark, so I'm quite happy with that at the moment. Now I've just been looking at how I'm going to connect this pond heater, and I've just noticed, now I didn't realise this, you do get a poxy little bit of cable on it, it's terrible. But what I want to show you guys is something I hadn't noticed with these. Now I was going to put this on the main line in, on the 2-inch pipe that comes from the actual sieve filter. I was going to put this in there. Now I'll just show you why I'm not going to. Right, so what I do want to show you is the actual flow through this heater. Now for some reason, just inside there, they've put a piece in there that isn't 40mm, I wouldn't think, in that centrepiece. If I hold it to the light, you might be able to see it a little bit better. But why they've done that, I really don't know. Whether it's so you don't need such a big flow to trigger that flow switch or what, I don't know. But they have really reduced the flow in there. Well, I don't want that on my 2-inch line, because that's going to take the flow back considerably, I'd have thought, to less than 40mm, being as you've got that element in the middle of it. So why that is, I don't know, but I'm certainly not putting it on my 2-inch line. I don't want the flow reducing on that. But I just thought you guys should know that. It's supposed to be 2-inch flow, and it isn't, not through the actual heater itself. Now that's how it's blocked off. That's how much the flow is going to be restricted. That's from the other end. So what I've decided to do now, instead of putting it in the 2-inch line, I'm going to put it in the bottom one of these 40mm lines that go round. Now the best one of these two that's going to be fed the most is the bottom one, because obviously it's got to go up higher to get into that one, so this is going to be fed the best. So I'm going to drop it in here, so I shall take the UV out and I shall put it in here, but I'm also going to reduce this pipe and bring this pipe up so I've got less travel for it. So that's what I've decided to do. I'm going to drop it in this 40mm line here. I don't want the main 2-inch line restricting like that, but that's the plan, that's what I'm going to do. Well guys, the weather is absolutely atrocious at the moment, so what I'm doing is I'm inside here working on this video actually at the moment. But what I've been thinking about is the protein skimmer foam fractionator, and I've been trying to sort that out, and to be quite honest I can't. One or two of you may know I did lose my C drive, one of my storage drives. I've got 5 storage drives in my computer. One of them got corrupted and destroyed my actual C drive, my Windows 10, and I lost a lot of stuff, which will teach me a lesson. I should back things up. I got storage drives which I should have backed them up to, but I didn't. Anyway, I lost my C drive and I lost a lot of the video of actually building this foam fractionator. I lost the drawings and I lost the videos, and obviously videos I can't replace. I could redo the drawings, but to be quite honest, the way I like to release plans is with every detail showing as much as possible. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some drawings that I'll put up and put on this video for you. I've made up a little video of what I've found and what I had left after the crash, but unfortunately I'm not going to release plans because I just lost too much stuff on it. But if you're interested, this will help you build one if you do want to build one. Okay, with this protein skimmer, here are the 4 main drawings of the bottom pipe work. This will show you all the bits that really matter on how the pipe work's done. Don't forget, this pipe work's done before you put the base on. You put the base on last of all, just in case you need to get into the pipe for any reason, as you won't be able to once the base is on. I've used the 2-inch screw slide valves because they're more controllable. They're a finer adjustment, so the reason for them actually is because this is the outlet up here. This is the outlet which will be running back to the pond. Being as it is here, I want the water level up here somewhere, so I'm going to have to restrict the outflow to lift the water level to this sort of level up here somewhere. I want the water level to run there, because all this above there will be filled with foam. And then over here, this is the top that will be going on the top of it. I've used clear acrylic because I want to see what's going on in there basically, and that will fit on there something like that. And then the skimmet, the dirt and waste should come out this pipe and down into a bucket. Now the main thing when building these things is to keep the water in there as long as possible. So the water that's coming in is going to rise with the air, the same as it does in your pond. It drags the water up. This piece here obviously is just going to tell me where the water level actually is, because this is going to be full of foam, so I'm not going to see too much down. I've got it attached to some 10mm PVC at the bottom. I've welded that to it, so that's all welded up. This tap here, the ball valve itself, that's just going to be for flushing it out in case there's any dirt. There is actually inside there a 90 that goes to about 1 inch from the bottom, so if I open that up it's going to suck any dirt off the bottom. Where I had to put the bulkhead in, you can probably see it's slightly discoloured. I had to heat all this up because it's 9-inch pipe. It's obviously got quite a tight curve on it, and to get a 2-inch bulkhead into there, or tank connector, I heated it up so that it was just pliable, and then put the tank connector on it and tightened it up so it actually distorted this, bent this, so that it was flat instead of curved. It flattened it out somewhat. On the inside where the seal is on this tank connector, it's flat and made a seal. Okay guys, what I want to talk about is these demountable couplings. They're what I use to screw into the brass slide valves. What I've found out actually is the rubber seal on these that goes round there, the actual fascia that is in the slide valve is not flat. It is tapered slightly for some reason. It's obviously not supposed to fit one of these. So what I've actually found is, because I had problems with these leaking, I tried thread tape, I tried a bigger seal in there, and they still leaked. So what I've actually found out is the face of the brass screw slide valve isn't dead flat. Like whereas these, where these fit onto, these are a dead flat surface. On the actual brass slide valves, they're tapered just slightly. And what's happening is the outside of this fitting is hitting before it gets chance for the seal to actually seal it. So what I did, I took this out, took the seal out, took this rubber seal out, and very gently and carefully ground the outside of this down slightly, only slightly. Don't take it all the way, else you'll push your seal right out. Just take the edge off this, the outside, not the inside. There's no need to touch the inside, just the outside edge of this. Just take it down slightly, and it will go in, and your rubber seal will then seal onto the brass. Because they're tapered, it's not allowing the seal to touch the actual flat surface of the brass. Well, that's the problem that I came up with, and that's how I fixed it. Now I must admit these screw brass slide valves aren't cheap. Have a look round. I had a good look round and I did find some on offer, but they're not cheap. But I have to say they are very good and work very well. You can really finely control the flow from either the outflow or the inflow if you put one on both. You can control them really well. Right, what I've got here is the air that goes into the actual foam fractionator. What I'm actually using is they're actually 4-inch air stones. I've got them on 8mm pipe. I cut that bit off to get more airflow and then super glued them to this piece here. So I've got the 4 of them on there. I've come off an 8mm pipe. I've got an 8mm Y piece on both of them. I've done them exactly the same. And then I've gone to the 15mm fittings. So on the 15mm fitting, I've got a T with a pipe that goes to the 8mm pipe that actually goes out. I've got the 2 that come down that fit onto them 2. Now what I'm going to do, they've got the actual Y piece inside, which has spread it slightly. So what I'm going to do now is take these pieces out. I'm going to use some fresh because the super glue didn't hold these in place. Look what happened, they didn't come off, but when I took them out they fell off. But I suppose while I was under pressure the pipe was keeping it tight. But what I'm going to do is heat this up, get it over there, and I think that should hold it. Once this is hot, and then just fit it over the top there, and the same on that one. Then I shall cut them off so they fit. That'll fit into here. That drops down to about, the outflow is about here somewhere, so that the air stones are below the outflow, so it's fetching all the water from the outflow upwards. So what I'm going to do now is just get a piece of this, get it warmed up, get it over top of these, let it cool down, and I'm going to see how well it holds. So I'm going to do that next. Okay, I've cut it off to the length. I mean, you can try pulling that, that's not going to come off there at all. That's fixed that quite well. So now I'm just going to wet the end of it. It always goes in these better if you just wet the end. Slide it in, tighten that up, and there we go. That's got our air lines ready to go back in. I've just got to do the top one now, and then we can fit it back to the protein skimmer. Okay, I've got another 8mm pipe fitting there. I'm going to cut this off. I shall cut it off because I don't want this piece. I shall cut it off, and then I'm going to put it up. I shall push it up the end of this pipe, and then do exactly the same and put the 15mm pipe, heat it up, push it over the top. So just the same as I've done the other 2. And there we go, and I should just take the piece of pipe, wet it. Once it's wet, pop it in, push that into there, tighten that up, and that's the air system on the foam fractionator. That will just hang down nicely. It's quite heavy, but once it gets into the actual cylinder itself, it's going to be full of air, so the air will make it that bit less heavy to be pulling on this pipe. And I shall lower it down so the actual outlet's here, and these are just that little bit below it. Okay, I've got a torch. I'm going to see if I can shine it down and just show you exactly how it goes. So I'm going to shine the torch down there, try to keep an eye on it, and I hope you can see all that. That's it in position inside the actual chamber. So that's how it all fits. I hope you can see. I can't quite see my screen properly, but I hope you can see that. That's how it fits inside. We're not going to be able to see this all the way down, but that's the outflow pipe coming down there at the back there, if you can see it, that goes into the actual protein skimmer. So that comes up to the actual valve, the screw slide valve, and a rubber connector from there, and then it goes off and goes to my moving bed. At the top of this pipe I have actually dropped a T in there, and the reason for that is because this pipe has such a drop into the moving bed. This was actually causing a siphon, so it was actually pulling the water out of the protein skimmer. So what I actually did was just put a T-piece on there and then up to the top with a cap on it, and I've drilled some holes in the top to let the air flow, so it stopped the siphon. I'm not getting a siphon, it's not pulling the water out of the skimmer now, it's just gravity flowing back to the actual moving bed. Now the inflow, as you may know, I've got it pulling from my moving bed and going into the actual protein skimmer. On the inside, as you've seen in the drawings, there's a 90 elbow upwards with the 4 air stones around the outside of it. Now I'm using a 6,500 litre an hour pump, which can be used wet or dry. Probably you could be doing with something a little bit less. I do have that turned down, it is restricted because it does bang out a lot of water for this, so I have got that turned down slightly, so you'll probably get away with something about 5,000 litres an hour. As I say, mine's 6,500 litres an hour and I have got it restricted. The airline, as you can see, actually comes up from round behind the protein skimmer, and the hole I drilled was slightly smaller. That is a real tight fit in there, it's actually watertight. But so that is quite a tight fit in there, and then it obviously goes down to the air stones. This is run from a 100 litre per minute pump, and you need plenty of air in these freshwater skimmers. You need quite a bit of air in there, and that's what's running it, the 100 litre per minute pump. But that is the actual protein skimmer in action. As you can see, that's what it's taken out in a day. There's about half a bucket full there. Now if you want to know any more about this skimmer, you can get me right here on YouTube at hotmail.com, or you can get me on pondfilters@gmail.com. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to help you out if I can. But that's it up and running. Well, there you go guys, that's how you build a freshwater protein skimmer. I hope that's helped a few of you out. I've been asked so many times, when am I getting the plans out for this skimmer? I do apologise, I did try to do something else, but I hadn't got the information for you. So have a freebie on me. You can rewind this, watch it back, pause it and do what you like with it now. You should have all the info to build yourself a protein skimmer if that's what you're looking for. Well guys, I can't get my pond heater fitted at the moment because the parts still haven't come yet. I'm hoping and keep my fingers crossed they're going to be delivered today, but we'll see. But as you can see, I've got plenty of clearing up to do in the garden. I might just leave that till a little bit later on. It is blooming windy and freezing cold out here at the moment. That wind feels really cold. What I'd like to mention before I finish this video is how nice it is to see new pond channels popping up on YouTube. It's always good, I think, to see new pond channels and see what people are doing and what they've got to say. I'd like to give a friend of mine a mention, Andy. He's just started his own koi channel and it's Derby Koi. If you want to pop along to Derby Koi, and it's Andy's channel, and have a look what he's putting out. He's putting some good videos out and some good information, so pop along and see Andy. He'll no doubt be pleased to see you. Pop along and have a look and see what he's turning out. He's turning out some interesting stuff. If we can all help support these new channels that come out on YouTube, I think it's all good. And don't forget, if you could like and subscribe a video, it does help us all. We all grow a bigger and stronger channel. So if you could like and subscribe, we'd all be really grateful. Anyway guys, it's come to that time again, I'm afraid. All it leaves me to say is thanks for watching. You all take care and happy ponding.